get into it. 1996 Major League Baseball season. It's the 30th anniversary of 1996. This is about his spitting at U Kid. The postseason takes on like Savoy style existed with Roberto Alomar's controversial inclusion into the playoffs. A young fan, the right field bleachers, who saves the day and maybe the season for the New York Yankees. Roberto Alomar hears it from the playoff fans, both on the road, such as those in New York at right, and even before the home crowd in Baltimore in the wake of his spitting at umpire John Hurstbeck. That was a big deal at that time. It is often bragged that image is everything, but that was all too unfortunate for Alberto Alomar, whose perception as an all-around good guy turned to all-around jerk overnight. Baltimore teammates saw number 12 on the back of Alomar's jersey. Was everyone else saw as a bullseye target. Fans, umpires, the court of public opinion, they all believed that the Orioles and Roberto Alomar did not deserve to be in the postseason. They strictly wanted payback. Umpires threatened to strike. Fans booed Alomar until the decimal meter cracked. Columnists after columnists raged away on their laptops. The Orioles simply yawned and rolled away ahead, and so did Alomar. Poetic justice would ultimately be served upon Alomar and the Orioles, not by the courts, not by the umpires union, not even by the commissioner, interim or otherwise. It would instead be administered by a 12-year-old kid from New York, Jersey, who decided to skip school, take a seat with some friends on the right field wall at Yankee Stadium. Since his introduction to the big leagues in 1988 at age 20, Roberto Alomar had quickly established himself as a graceful both on the field and the clubhouse, a slick fielding second base with good range, speed, and attitude. Worse for the opposition, Alomar's batting skills had caught up with those of his glove, consistently batting 300 with emerging power. 5 years after 5 years in Toronto, Alomar was signed up with the Orioles for 1996. His offense immediately blossomed into superstar terrain, producing career highs with 328 batting average, 132 runs, 43 doubles, 22 home runs, 94 runs batted in, 90 walks. With the playoff spot in the line, the Warriors came to Almore's former home at Toronto for their final regular season series, and it was there that Almore's good name would suddenly become synonymous with baseball's public contents of the day, names such as Bell, Cordero, and Schott. In his first at bat of the series, Alomar took his call straight by umpire John Hirschbeck and suffered a meltdown worthy of Chernobyl. Chernobyl. He let loose with a torrent of abusive language, and then, in the midst of being held back by manager Davy Johnson, spat point blank at Hirschbeck's face. Alomar claimed the source of his rage came when, after looking back at Hirschbeck on strike three, so he better swing at that pitch. But Alomar wouldn't air the accusation for a few months. Instead, it was hours after the incident that Alomar still stood in the Orioles locker room, dug deeper in the grave on his continual reputation by suggesting Herbeck had grown bitter since the recent death of his son to a rave brain disorder. When Herbeck got wind of those comments the next day, he stormed from hell bent to the clubhouse of the Orioles, ready to kill Alomar, and he had to be physically escorted away. Alomar was quickly slapped with a 5-game suspension, but he quickly appealed and was granted a stay of execution. To the utter dismay of the desperate, every other major league empire back in a uniform, Alomar became the hero of the Orioles' second to last regular season game when he clocked a game-winning 10th inning homer against the Blue Jays, helping to clinch Baltimore in an American League wildcard spot. The Orioles passed to the postseason suddenly mired in controversy capped in otherwise massive American League East race between two affluent titans trying to outspin one another for first place. The Orioles failed in that quest, playing second fiddle to the New York Yankees. It had been a miserable last 15 years for George Steinbrenner and the Yankees, who had fallen from an annual World Series favorite to contenders, then pretenders. Impatient as ever, Graham Steinbrenner became a victim of his early successes, could no longer forge triumph through chaos. No matter how hard he tried, he did. Steinbrenner made 13 managerial changes over a 12-year period, continually collected over Hills veterans for blue chip prospects of major free agency backs. Bucks. When they didn't produce to his satisfaction, Steinbrenner viewed them through the press or worse as when he paid $40,000 to a mob-tied gambler to dig up dirt on Dave Winfield, costing him a 3-year suspension from baseball. Steinbrenner's act had grown embarrassing, if not tiresome. He was reduced in public mainstream to a faceless character on Steinfeld, dumb enough to hire George Costanza to the Yankees front office. The funny thing began to happen in 1992. Steinbrenner showed unprecedented willpower in hiring a manager, Buck Showalter, who made it not just through one season, but four. More importantly, Steinbrenner kept his hands off the farm system, allowing his latest collection of promising prospects to grow and graduate to the majors wearing Yankee pinstripes. Patience bred success. The Yankees improved at a healthy clip through the early 90s. Finally returned to the postseason in 1995. Thanks for the 23 people tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button. I see someone did that. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. The Yankees improved at a healthy clip through the early 90s, finally returned to the postseason in 1995 as a wild card. 1996, Steinbrenner found his team in possession of something none of his Bucks could possibly buy, destiny. Steinbrenner's cadre of young, homegrown Yankees all matured at once into big stars. The elder statements of this new generation was 27-year-old center fielder Ronnie Williams, whose gangly physique recalled Dave Winfield, and like the ex-Yankee developed into the team's biggest offensive threat with the 305 average, 29 home runs, 102 RBIs. Starting pitcher Andy Pettitte, whose left-handed Louisiana roots echo another former Yankee star, and Ron Guidry won an All-American League high 21 games in just his second year. That shortstop was 22-year-old rookie Derek Jeter, a prodigy so highly valued by the Yankees they gave him one of only two single-digit uniform numbers that retired by the team. The others were worn by mortals such as Ruth, Garrett, DiMaggio, and Mantle. Jeter's smart, scintillating defense backed by a 314 batting average in 1996 says that he might be the last Yankee to wear number two. Jeter was the first number one draft choice by the Yankees since Thurman Munson in 1968 to fulfill his promises and promising pinstripes. Alongside the youngsters, the veterans clicked as every move the Yankees made turned to gold. Tina Martinez was acquired to replace the retired Don Manley at first base, led the Yankees with 117 RBIs. Jimmy Key, a year after major rotator cuff surgery, left doctors skeptical that he could pitch again, but together the 12-11 mark. Fellow star David Cone made an equally successful recovery from a series of blood clots in his pitching arm, and Dwight Gooden given a chance by Steinbrenner after drugs had gotten him kicked out of baseball in 1995 through an inspirational no-hitter against the high-powered Seattle Mariners in May. Finished at 11-1, 11-7. Leading the Yankees parade in the dugout was manager Joe Torre, hired after 6 uninspiring years at St. Louis. The New York media initially lambasted Torre as well, another one, saying his retread yes man, but his calm poker face attitude perfectly won the players over. The boss left him alone. The Yankees took a healthy double-digit American League East lead into July, but began sliding in August, allowing the Orioles to right up on the hills, and initiating an all-out war of both big wallets between the two teams that they would spin, trade, spin, acquire, spin again. Even before the budget-busting race began, the Orioles were already choked with offense as led by Alomar, Rafael Palmeiro, who had 39 home runs, 142 RBIs, Bobby Bonilla, 28 home runs, 116 RBIs, Cal Ripken Jr., 26 home runs, 102 RBIs, the off-batter Brady Henderson, who of all people exploded for 50 home runs. The late season moves which brought over Ty Zeal and Pete Incavilla from Philadelphia, former Baltimore All-Star Eddie Murray, back from Cleveland, beefed up the prodigious offense to an outrageous level. By September, Orioles could field a lineup in which all 9 batters had at least 20 home runs for the season. Undoubtedly a major league first. Strangely, the Orioles front office did little to fix it up. This pitching staff that was wretched, weighing the team down with a 5.14 earned run average. Thus, the Orioles challenge to the Yankees fell short. In defeat, however, they garnered a worthwhile consolation prize in the American League wild card, thanks in part to Robert Alomar's last weekend heroic spit, sock and all. Major League umpires limited the Alomar's penalty for his actions against John for 2 short 5 games, not costly, though fines not timely, molded the boycott right up to the postseason first pitch. It took an injunction from the federal court to get them back on the field. Almost ensuing performance in ALDS against the powerful Cleveland Indians, owners of the Major League Major's best record at 99-62 only made the men in blue seethe more. The decisive game four at Cleveland, Lattimore hit a two-out, two strikes, one scoring single to side the Indians in the ninth. Batting leadoff in the 12th, laid on a home run will win the game 6 3 to 1. Lattimore by now had gotten the message of what he had wrought, being virtually vertically blue at Cleveland was no surprise. He had also heard count calls from his own fans in Baltimore. He released a prepared statement of apologies. Some umpires believe he had invented. He used to donate $50,000 to help fight the brain disease that took the life of Hirschbeck's son. Merciful Hirschbeck accepted Mia culpa of Alomar and urged everyone to move on. The apology had been issued, but justice had yet to be served. We waiting for Alomar and Orioles in Game 1 of ALCS at Yankee Stadium. The Yankees having dispensed of another high-powered foe in the Texas Rangers during the first round, due with the Orioles in a tight ALCS opener. Trailing 4-3-1 in the eighth, Derek Jeter strode to the plate against young flaming throwing Baltimore reliever Armando Benitez, who gets shortstop off the first pitch towards right field bleachers. Orioles outfielder Tony Tarasco backed up flat against the wall, looked and reached up, and then was gone, plucked out of the air by the wayward glove 12-year-old Jeffrey Mayer. Reaching over from behind the wall, umpire Rich Garcia racing down the right field line, ruled no interference, gave G the home run. Tarasco manager Davey Johnson holding back their spit, arguably, but to no avail. Garcia later reviewed a replay and admitted he had made the wrong call. The game was tied, extra innings and minutes. In the 11th inning, Bernie Williams clobbered a deep fly. No outfielder had a chance to win the game 5-4. While Mayer became the toast of New York, making the standard Big Apple media circuit the next day with Good Morning America, David Letterman, among others. The Orioles even the series with a 5-3 win, although they reported that Mayer had kept them from taking a 2-0 lead back to Baltimore. From there, the Orioles would only have themselves to blame. They had lost all 6 games to the Yankees at Camden Yards during the regular season. It was at Camden Yards where they would all lose 3 ALCS contests to bow against to the Yankees, this time for good. In a 5-game ALCS victory, the Yankees hammered away at weak Baltimore pitching for 10 home runs, going 3 from Darryl Strawberry, like Dwight Gooden, another ex-New York refugee from substance abuse hell. As Alomar and Orioles past tense, all eyes turned to the World Series, whether the Yankees could not stop a thundering Rolling Stone and the Atlanta Braves. Defending world champions had sailed through another first-class World season thanks to superb starting pitching from Big Three Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, and John Smoltz, who drove a career with a 24-8 record, 276 strikeouts, 2.94 ERA. At the plate, 24-year-old switch hitter Chipper Jones hit 309, batting average 30 home runs and 110 RBIs. They swept the National League wildcard entrant Los Angeles Dodgers in 3 games. Then the Braves advanced to the NLCS and quickly found themselves in trouble with the NL Central winning St. Louis Cardinals, managed by former Oakland skipper Tony La Russa, who brought along a number of A's players, coaches with him. The Cardinals pinned the suddenly drowning Braves against the ropes with a 3-1 series lead. Looked primed to deliver the knockout blow at home for Game 5, but like Popeye at the spinach, Atlanta rebounded. They clobbered the Cardinals 14-0 in Game 5 to stay alive. Took Game 6 behind Rax 3-1. In Game 7 laid another trouncing upon St. Louis, this time by a 15-0 count. The Cardinals never knew what hit them. Neither were the Yankees for the first 2 games of the World Series at New York. In Game 1, the Braves pummeled the New York Yankees 12-1. In Game 2, under Max pitching, shut down the Yankees 4-0, having outscored the opposition by a combined total 48-2 over their 5 games. In the postseason, the Braves looked indomitable. Were headed to Atlanta for the next 3. Then Game 3, David Cone, they signed the Braves 5-2. Then in Game 4, after trailing 6-0, Sam Wuggy, who got in the way of Atlanta outfielder Drain Dye, had to tour around Wuggy, therefore could reach a pop-up foul hit by Derek Jeter. It was a moment that would confirm Yankee destiny. Still alive. Jeter single Now the 3-run rally to put the Yankees back in the game. 2 innings later, they dramatically tied it with Jim Layers, grabbed hold of a hanging slider from land closer Mark Wohlers and slammed a 3-run homer. New York completed the first World Series' biggest single comeback since 1929, tied the series when it notched 2 runs in a 2-run 10th inning rally. Yankees complete their improbable 3-game sweep to spoil the launching pad last party in Game 5. Pettit outduced dueling Smokes 1-0. The lone run came when Charlie Hayes' fly ball was dropped by Atlanta center fielder Marquise Grissom, distracted by a die, running in too close from his life. Absent for 18 years from baseball's top podium, Yankees realized their magical run and returned to championship form at Yankee Stadium in Game 6. They knocked the Mags for 3 runs in the third inning. Jimmy Key made the New York lead stand up through 6 innings. The game was turned over to the Yankees bullpen, a very strong unit, which had helped limit the Yankees to just 3 leads all year without the 6th inning. Led by closer John Wetland, his third appearance in Panama-born Mariano Rivera. The Braves closed the score to 3-2, but the tying go-ahead runs on base in the ninth. But Wetland prevailed, earned the series MVP for saving all 4 New York victories. New York triumph was all the more much for manager Joe Torre, who during the year had lost my brother to a heart attack. Other brother Frank Torre, mate from Major League, was suddenly given a new heart just a day before the Game 6 clincher. Yankee destiny will soon give way to a new Yankee dynasty. But for now, the thrill of victory came to George Steinbrenner like a badly needed coat of fresh paint. As players came the spoilers, average winning share at $217,000, and most certainly sooner or later, Steinbrenner will have considered at least a half share for Jeffrey Mayer. Let's look at the 1996 standings of that year, what took place during that season. So I'll be back with another live feed. Thanks for the 3 people that like the channel, like the video. Hopefully subscribe. So then, talk to you soon.